Hi everybody, this is Donnaleigh from Donnaleigh.com, and today I'm going to show you a little bit how the Lenormand and Tarot can work together. I love that they're different. The Lenormand picks up real life situations. He's doing this to her, she's going there, who's doing what to who, but it doesn't say how people feel about it. It just tells you what really is happening. The tarot, however, is a very deep psychological experience, so it tells you how you feel. If he's doing this to her, how each of the players may feel about it, how you may feel about it. So I'm going to use Cat Black's Golden Tarot, one of my absolute favorite tarot decks in the world. I use it a lot, and this is the Low Scarbale Lenormand, and it is modified that the borders are cut off. I added some glitter and stuff. I like to modify decks. So basically, this situation that I want to delve into, I want to find a little bit about the physical, and I want to find a little bit about the psychological, put them both together in one reading to make sense out of it. So, for example, there are questions to ask of the Lenormand that may not be appropriate, like how are you feeling about XYZ person? That would be a tarot question. If you want to ask something like what's going to happen with my job, well, you can ask that for tarot. It'll tell you how you feel about it. This will tell you a little bit more about the logistics of what's physically happening. So if you see with tarot, for example, what's going to happen with my job, and you get the Hermit, that could either mean that you'll be alone after the job, you won't be able to get it if it's a crowd job, or it could mean that you may be getting a job working solo. Okay, so let's take a look. Now the question I have says, I need some guidance on my spiritual path. One thing that's come up on my healing journey is fear. So let's take a look. So if we were to look in Lenormand, I'm going to make this very basic. We'll do a 3-card spread and just see how the cards interact. I may even do 2 3-card spreads because I like to really dig. So actually, let's do something twice as nice. So for Lenormand, I'm going to pull 3. I'm going to pull 3 more. I'll show you what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to put them in a really neat relationship with each other. Okay, now for Tarot, I'm going to pull 3 for my Golden Tarot. So let me just spread them out. 1, 2, 3. So if I were to look at Tarot, the 8 of Swords reversed, the 8 of Cups, and the 3 of Cups, if you turn this into a story, and I love using Robert Place's method where the cards look at each other. I'm going to zoom in so you can see these a little closer. With these 3 cards, I do notice that one is reversed, then it's the first one. If you were to think of this as time succession, it shows now being the harder place, being reversed, and then as time goes on it gets better. You can also look at what the people are doing with each other. So this person is looking into the future. This person is looking into the future. And then there's this joyful picture where they are headed toward the past, but they are still looking to people in the future. And this, the meanings of these cards, the 3 of Cups ends great because this is about celebration and party, being with people, getting out there. And the Ace of Cups is expressing love, reaching out with love, doing something you love, starting something you love. So, and that these are both Cups. Cards are bound to the emotions. Cups are emotions. Now the Swords, the 8 of Swords, has to do with more self-sabotage, keeping our eyes closed and not wanting to see. This may be the fear she's talking about, rather holding it within. This is a card that she's around a lot of frosty mountains, so it's not necessarily where she would, it's kind of a barren land. It's not where she can make the most of her life. And she keeps herself in these swords. And many people will say when reading tarot, look, there's really not a cage around her. She could get out through either side. Many people also make note of the freedom she has to actually take the mask off if she wanted to. She's not that tightly bound. When you reverse it, that may become more of an internal experience, or it could be telling us you need to reverse the self-sabotage. It could be telling us release the fears. It could be telling us, take off the blindfold, be bold, look at what's really around you. What are you creating in your landscape? Is it what you want? Is it barren? Or is it out with people, joyful, out in the landscape that's more lush? This is a very lush garden. So the emotional landscape of the spread talks a little bit about going from barren to plentiful. This card is really about reaching out and expressing love to yourself, and it has to do with, could be receiving as well. And this may be the divine, maybe something that she has to pull in that's from the divine, but also she has to put the cup out to receive it. If she were to pull it in, she's not ever going to be able to receive what she needs. So there's a little give and take that you can, whether you see this as giving or taking, it may be both. But the Ace of Cups is about letting your emotions start, take a risk, flow free. So while she has one fearful card, it's overwhelmed by the goodness of the happy cards here. So in the bad card being reversed, it's almost like it's not really what you think it is. So keep an eye on the happy cards. Now let's take a look at the Lenormand. We'll compare. All right, so let's get a little bit into real life, mundane, the actual experience rather than what's going on inside her. So we don't read reversals in Lenormand. So what we have here is Ship and Man and Luck. So basically these cards suggest movement, travel, maybe doing something that feels foreign, foreign man, traveling to a place where there's a man. This man may be able to help her bring a little bit of luck so that she feels better about herself. So this is a suggestion to her in terms of what she may be to look into for insight for finding her way past the fear. This gentleman may have something to do with her traveling to where she needs to be, to the lucky place. All right, putting those down, if we now look at the bottom row, what we have here is the ring, the mice, and the key. So this talks about promises we make, contracts we have. The mice following it means what are we doing to nibble away from that contract? If we say we're going to do something, what's taken away from it? That's the secret. So it's almost like you promise yourself to do something and then maybe there's not something that's happening or someone isn't following through, whether it's her or whether it's other people in that. That's the key. So you know what you got to do. Is it really happening? Is the contract happening? It reminds me of like when you say you're going to go on a diet and you know it'll work and science says it will work, but you keep nibbling away at the cheese in the fridge. That takes away from the diet. That's your key. So it really even can come down to science and practicality. You really have to stick with the contracts you give yourself and follow through. So pick a method, stick with it, and don't let this take away from it. That's your key. So you put the two together, the top and the bottom. You can do other things with this Lenormand spread too. For example, you can put these two cards together. So Ship and Ring. She may have to travel in order to find this contract. It may be a contract that feels foreign to her. She may have to move out of where she is and set a promise. You look at the other two, man nibbling away. How could there be someone in her life, perhaps, in addition to the one that's helping her? Is there something about a gentleman that's causing this nibbling away? Or can he nibble away at her fear of the moving? If she's moving from the contract, how can he prevent that from happening? Stop this from happening. Nibble away from this moving away from the contract. Because the ship can be moving away from what she promised herself, like we said before. In the end, two wonderful cards. You've got the clover and the key. So that's luck is the key. It's almost like believe in yourself. A little luck. This is not the bouquet. So this is not like gush over yourself. This is like little belief. It's like baby steps. Believe in yourself. That's the key and that's the secret. You put this together with this and you see it has to do with if this is a contract she's moving away from, how is that self-sabotage making her move away from her promises? How are her fears moving her away from what needs to happen? And she knows it does. Very obvious, clear things. If we look at this, if the man is taking away, or if the man is taking away from this, however you want to read it, how will that allow this to happen? Allow her to reach out. Kind of get down on her knees and really just humbly accept. If luck is the key, feeling good about herself is the key, if this ending is good, this is what we'll get. And perhaps luck for her could also be finding her community. Perhaps she needs to move to the community. Perhaps the self-sabotage is what's taking away from her happiness. See what I'm doing? I'm turning this into a 9-card spread now. So we had 3 different ones, then we had 2 here, then we mixed this with this. Now you can start taking a look at moving away from the fears. Have a little luck. Meet your people. You can have moving toward your people. You can have man reaches out. You can have man is the key. Man is the contract. If you look at travel, what's taking away, perhaps not getting out to the people. Mirroring, promise is the key. Traveling, changing, moving is luck. Letting go of the fear will get you out with the people. And I see if we were to look at this last row, it looks like healing. Goodness, key, being out there in a healthy environment with people. This last row is a beautiful thing. So take a little look at the spreads that you have. Let them engage with each other a little bit, have a little interaction, but you can see how this is the very real life stuff. The man, the contract, this is things we can do to work within. And I hope you have a little fun exploring with this type of spread. Have fun.